Hello everyone, it's Karina with Karina Loves to Plan. Thank you for joining me in my little corner of the internet where I talk all things planners, fountain pens, and fountain pen inks. Today I am going to be swatching all of my Pilot inks. And I was actually looking through my videos for the last year, and I know I did this sometime in November, but I do these types of videos regularly because it allows me to see what I currently have in my collection, but it also helps me curb my spending a little bit because if I do these types of collection videos where I assess what I currently have, it kind of just, I don't know, it makes me take a step back and see what I have and also makes me enjoy it, especially because it gives me the chance to really play around with my inks. So I'll be doing that to, occasionally with some of the ink brands that I have or maybe different colorways just to not help me fall in love with my collection again because I do love my collection, but give me more of an opportunity to use it rather than just have it sit there. So today I'm going to be going through all of my Pilot inks, and I'm just looking through all of my samples because I want to include the samples in here as well. And I think, oh, no, I think I have them all. I have a total of 14 today. So I will be swatching them all in my Hobonichi A5 notebook with 52 GSM Tomoe River paper. I do have my 3mm Browse ornament nib here, but I'm thinking I want to try my 5mm because I have these that I purchased from PenChalet that I haven't used yet. And I thought, let's try the 5mm and see how I feel about these particular ones. And I'm going to put this on my River City Penco nib holder. And you don't ever want to put your nib all the way in like that. You actually just want it out about that way. And then you never dip the water or the ink past that point because you don't want to actually put any of this part in the water. And then once you're actually done using this, you want to make sure that you take it out of the nib holder and dry it off completely. And then to do my writing sample, I'm going to use my new glass dip pen that I purchased from Mommy G Market over the weekend. So I'm excited to use that as well. All right, let's get started. The first ink I'm swatching is Pilot Iroshizuku Ajisai. I got this as a sample from I guess a fountain pen meetup a few months ago. And when Anne and Allie look at the label, they're gonna laugh at me because it's like I didn't know how to use a label maker. But anyway, here we go. So I haven't actually put this one in a pen, but I really like this one because of, let me make sure I get all of that in here. Oh yeah, look at this blurple. And when I say blurple, I mean it's blue and purple, and it's just a beautiful balance between the two. I really like that fatter nib. That's lovely. Oh, making sure that I'm properly wiping off my nib here. And then using my new glass dip pen. I haven't used a glass dip pen in quite a while. I've really loved using my Kakimori stainless steel nib, but it'll be nice to use a new one here. So this is, and I'm not going to write Pilot Iroshizuku for every single one because I think I drove someone crazy with that once. So this is, oh, Aji Sai. Oh, I definitely have to get used to writing with that. Lovely. And do I want to do little figure eights? Oh, that's lovely and smooth. Beautiful. And you'll be able to see the shading in there. So that's Pilot Iroshizuku Ajisai. Next, we have Chiku Rin. This one is an ink that I've had for years, actually. And it's one of those staple colors that I feel like everyone should have, like a green that looks like this in their collection, because it's just a fun spring or summer green, and Pilot inks are really well lubricated and just a great safe, stable, consistent brand when it comes to inks. So dipping my nib. And this is Chiku Rin. Now with the glass dip pen, I definitely can't write as fine as I normally would, but still lovely. And don't worry, I will show you all of these inks once they're dried. So that is Chiku Rin. Next, I have a sample that was sent by a pen friend. This is the 100th anniversary Fuku Roku Ju. I haven't used this yet, but it is a green ink. And actually, I'm probably going to do a collection video of all of the green inks that I currently own because I feel like I've accumulated a lot in the last couple of months here. One, thanks to this pen friend, but two, just because I feel like I'm in my green era and I've definitely purchased a lot more green inks recently than I have, I think, in my whole hobby of fountain pens. Okay. And then dipping that in. So this is Fuku Roku Ju. Lovely. Oh, I can't wait to see that one dried as well. I'm swatching these like I haven't ever seen them before, but there's something about watching inks dry on a page like this that's really satisfying. I know that sounds so boring. Oh, I'm just watching ink dry, but it's so satisfying to see the way the ink changes on the paper. So that is Fuku Roku Ju. The next in my Pilot Iroshizuku collection is Ina Ho. Now, this one is discontinued, and even if it is discontinued, I'm going to feature it on my channel because I am all about using what I have, and I won't apologize for showing this on my channel, even if it is discontinued, because I love it. And I'm showing it not as a way of, bragging or anything, but I'm showing it because it's something that should be used. I think in our society as well, there's so many things that are, limited edition um, or what are they like phased out. And there are inevitably in life things that we're going to miss out on, but that doesn't mean that those who do have those things should stop using them because others have missed out on them. So, Inaho, a beautiful yellowy brown that is actually very, very legible. There are a lot of videos out there who have tried to recreate Inaho with other inks, and I also have a couple of videos as well. So if you search on my channel, I've found a few dupes for Inaho as well. The next one is, I'm sorry again, is another discontinued one. This is Kiri Same. I actually purchased this at Reed's Stationers in Calgary when I thought they no longer had it. So they must have had or been able to, I guess, get some. Oh, there's a little bit of Fukuroku gin in there. That's okay. Now, I don't really write with gray inks. I don't have a lot of gray inks, and for me, gray is like it's just that much closer to black. But those that have a little bit of complexity, I enjoy. And this one is a small enough sample, or a small enough ink bottle that I don't feel pressure to use that. It's going to bug me that there's a little bit of green on there. I'm going to try and fix that. Maybe cover it up a bit. Yeah, okay. So that is Kiri Same. Next we have Kujiku, and oh, let's open that up here. This one is a teal leaning a little bit more blue. Like if you look at the bottle, it looks blue. But then if you actually compare this to other blues, it definitely looks more teal. And a lot of people are like, well, would you choose Sioro or Kujiku? And I feel like Kujiku leans a little bit more blue, whereas Sioro leans a little bit more green. Now, I don't have Sioro to compare it to, but from what I've seen or what I've had in the past, I always felt like Sioro leaned a little bit more green than Kujiku. So this is, yeah, that should go on top of the J, not on top of the A, Karina. Gorgeous. I actually love inking up my husband's pens with this ink, and every time I ink his pens, he's always like, put Pilot inks in them, please." So that is Kujiku. Next, I have Murasaki Shikibu. I love this purple so much, and I didn't think that I would enjoy purple inks as much as I do, but there's such a wide range of purple, you know, going from like really bright. And I love this one because there's almost hints of like pink in there. Really lovely. But also just Pilot inks in general are just so well behaved. There we go. So this one is going to take a little second to write more. Wait, I've already messed it up. Murasaki Shikibu. If you're wanting a really lovely, vibrant purple, recommend, highly recommend Murasaki Shikibu. Next, we have an ink that I don't really use. I keep this in my collection more for my husband. It is Shinkai. So this one is more of a blue-black ink. And again, my husband loves this. I keep it in my collection for him. And for me, blue inks aren't really ones that I go for. Not this shade of blue. Like if you give me a light blue gray, I am all over that. But I don't know, something about Shinkai is just not for me. But my husband loves it. But I'll show you a blue that I actually really do enjoy. This is Shinkai. Now this one, I think when it dries, has a little bit of a red sheen to it, kind of like Kujiku. There's a little bit of sheen happening there as well. That's probably one of the reasons why I don't like it, but I think because I have spent so much of my life writing with blue pens, I'm kind of like, I want to write with anything but blue. So that is Shinkai. Next, we have a green that I have recently fallen, I guess, back in love with. And I hadn't really inked it up for quite some time, and now I'm in my green era and I love it. Shin Ryoku. Now, I had spilled half of this bottle all over my desk a little over a year ago, and I maybe have like a quarter of the bottle left. My husband also loves this ink, but now I feel like I have to fight him for it because I love this green. I didn't used to, but I love it now. I don't know what it is. I mean, I was actually speaking to the owner of Stylus when I was making my purchase, and when I said that I'm on a in my green era, she completely understood what I was talking about. And you know, we all have those phases in our collection or in our hobby where I'm all about the brown pens, I'm all about the green pens, or I'm all about the dusty pink inks. We all go through that. That's the evolution of this hobby, is that our tastes change over time. And what I've noticed with my ink taste, you know, going from shimmer inks and then like brown, dusty pinks and browns, and now I'm all about the greens. It's really interesting how our tastes change. And a year ago, I wasn't a fan of this ink, but now I'm like, I absolutely love it. So that is Shin Ryoku. Another green ink that's been added to my Pilot collection. This is number 20 on the list, but this is Sui Gyoku. I always have trouble pronouncing that one. This one, as you can kind of tell from the sample, looks a little bit more teal than green. Oh yeah, lovely. I haven't inked this one yet since getting this from my pen friend, but I'm hoping maybe to ink it up for September. Just lovely. What I love about being able to swatch my collections or my ink collections like this as well is just reminding myself what I have and what I haven't yet used. Because I think I'm at that point in my collection where I can definitely keep track of the bottles. As for the samples, I'm having a harder time keeping track of those. I have a sample vial tray basically filled with samples that I have yet to put in a pen, and it's feeling a little overwhelming. But then I also have another sample vial rack filled with ink samples that I have used in a pen and then want to keep for future use. So I need to work through those. All right, Sui Gyoku. I really like that teal. Beautiful. Now we have Seun Gyo. I purchased this, I think it was through AliExpress at about the same time that I purchased my Pilot Kakuno in the Madarumi pink. And you'll be able to tell exactly why I love this. It's kind of this burgundy purple, and it's just stunning. Burgundy, purple, a little bit of brown. I love it. It's such a bold shade, I feel like, for this type of color. And I bought this without ever sampling it, but I was not disappointed. Oop. Lovely. And just the way that there's like a little bit of pink coming out here. Don't worry, I will show you once it's dried. It's just such a stunning ink. If you haven't tried this one yet, please do. Upon my recommendation, I'm enabling you. There you go. Seun Gyo. Next is the ink that I always have inked in my Pilot Vanishing Point. It is Take Sumi. And I actually don't take this out of the box that often unless I have to re-ink my Pilot Vanishing Point, and it's not that often that I do because that has an extra fine nib, and I refill the cartridge, so it takes me quite a while to work through that. So this is why this one still lives in the box. All the other bottles don't, although I have kept the boxes. So this is a black ink. Like, what else do I say about a black ink? And I'm not one of those people that need like the blackest black ink. I would just like a black ink that is consistent and dependable, doesn't sheen, and also flows really well. And this one, paired with my Pilot Vanishing Point, is just wonderful. Wonderful. So this is like, it looks so wet on this glass tip pen. But in my Pilot Vanishing Point, perfect flow with that extra fine nib. I'm able to write very, very fine with it. No issues whatsoever. So if you're just looking for a black ink, Take Sumi is a great, great choice. There we go. And I feel like my voice is going. Two more here. Let me make sure this is straight. So we have Tsukio. This was the blue that I mentioned that I couldn't live without, which surprised even me. But I'm like, if I had to pick a blue, I would choose Tsukio over Shinkai. And I think one of the reasons why I would choose this blue over Shinkai is because it just looks that much more blue. This one doesn't have really as much sheen as Shinkai. And Shinkai just is almost that bit too dark for me as a blue. And I mean, yeah, it's a blue black, so it's going to be a little bit darker, but I like when I'm doing my writing, if it's a blue ink, I want to see in my writing that it's blue. And I write with really fine nibs, so Shinkai may look closer to a black. Whoa, that is not a figure eight. May look closer to a black, whereas this definitely looks like a blue with the finer writing or the finer nibs. So I prefer this one over Shinkai. This one I heard about. It was one of those inks where there were so many people that recommended it as like one of their go-to inks, especially for testing pens. And you can see a little bit of sheen forming here, but it's not as much as Shinkai. But Tsukio, a really, really great blue. And last but not least, we have Yamabudo. And I know some of you are like, that's all that you have for Pilot? How come you don't have, Yuyake? You don't have this and this. And I have tried other inks with Pilot, but these are the ones that have stayed in my collection. Like I've tried Toro and Yuyake, and they're lovely, but they're not ones that I would permanently have in my collection. Now, Yamabudo, there's so many of you that recommended that I try this, and then a lovely pen friend sent me this bottle, and it's such a lovely, bright magenta pink. Now, this does sheen a little bit as well. So if you're not a fan of sheen, kind of like me, be wary of that. But it is a really beautiful color. So now that I've swatched them all, I'm going to wait for them to dry, and then I will show you once all of these are dried. So here are all of the inks now dried, and I'll zoom in and show these all to you. So we have Ajisai. You can definitely tell why I say this is a blurple, because when you compare it against the blues, it looks more purple. And then when you compare it against the purples, it looks more blue. So it's kind of that in between. And then you've got lovely Chiku Rin. It's just such a lovely spring summery color. And then Fukuroku Ju. I feel like what I'm wearing kind of is kind of reminiscent of some of the greens that I have in here. And I cannot wait to use that in a pen. And I'm just looking at these. I feel like the Browse ornament nib isn't really the best one to show off shading. And if I wanted to show off shading, I'd have to, with the swatches, I'd have to like do one, stop, and then lift up the nib and then start again. So I'm going to work on the best way to use the nib for swatching. And then Inaho, just such a lovely brown. Like I can't say anything more than that. Just wonderful, wonderful. Kurasame, a really good gray. If you want a gray that looks more like a pencil, I guess, rather than like more black, this is a really good one. Kujiku, a lot of sheening in the swatch, but actually a really nice teal. Then move on to these 6 here. Murasaki Shikibu, another really great purple. I'm running out of adjectives here, but I really like this one because it's bright and fun, but not over the top, and still, I think, usable on a day-to-day basis. Shinkai, a blue-black that my husband prefers. I feel like there's just too much sheen in it for me, so it's not for me, unfortunately. Then Shin Ryoku, I've fallen in love with this ink recently in the last few months, and just look at the way that green is. It's stunning. Sui Gyoku, a little bit more of a teal or turquoise. I need to actually put this in a pen because this one I'm really, really liking and I think would go really well going into the fall, winter months. Then you have, oh, let's move these here. You have Seon Gyo, a little bit of like this gold sheen happening here, but still a really great brown, purple, maroon ink. Takesumi, if you're looking for a stable, consistent black. I really like that one. I use that one in my Pilot Vanishing Point. Then Tsukio, I like this blue. There is a little bit of red sheen happening here, but not too much when I use it in a fine or an extra fine nib. And what I like about this one is that when you write with it, you can tell it's a blue ink rather than closer to darker blue black. Then lastly, Yamabudo. This one definitely sheens a little bit more than I prefer, but it's a really punchy magenta pink, lovely, bright, and fun. So that is my Pilot ink collection as it stands today. We'll see if this changes. And one of the reasons why I like to do these types of videos is because then when I upload them into YouTube, it's like a memory keeper for me. Essentially, YouTube videos and these collection videos mark a place in time and see my collection as it is on that day. And then when I look back on these and look at how my taste changed over time, these videos definitely help me to see what I'm leaning towards just in today's space and time, and compare it to previous years and what I'd prefer. What does your pilot collection look like? Are there any in here that are missing that are your favorite, or which of these are your favorites? Let me know. All right, that is it for me. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up and to subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks again and have yourselves a great day.